talk about the dating world. I know a lot of people are very frustrated. Oh Lord, let me back up. I did it again. I started talking directly and then didn't even say who I was. Good morning. How you guys doing? I hope you're having a good night, a good morning, a good evening, whenever you watch this. Good afternoon. Um, One, I have not came on YouTube in a while. Okay. I'm supposed to be like really getting active, but I have not yet, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. Okay. So that's one thing I'll tell you guys. It's just closing out the year. Everybody tries to get everything in before the holiday season. So it's just be a lot, especially for business owners, nonprofit world. It's just be everybody trying to get everything in. So your girl's been just busy. But let's get on to this dating thing because that's about things outside of us at the end of the day. That's not really critical. It's what we do. Because what we do changes, who we are evolves. That's literally how it is. I don't know why people be so your job should never be your identity, or even your business should never be your identity. But some people in America, if you've been trained that way, you may have that issue. But anyway, I'll say that what I've noticed. Now, this is coming from a person who has been married. I have been in long-term relationships. My I would say my shortest relationship, because I don't consider anything over 6 months a relationship. If it doesn't make over 6 months, honey, that was just a fling. That wasn't nothing to even talk about. So I'll say my shortest relationship has been 3 years. My longest has been 15 years. And I've been married. Okay. So most of my life I have been in relationship. Most of my dating life, which I was young when I started dating, like very young, um, has been in relationship with somebody. So I haven't been single long. Like if you think about my entire adult life of dating, raising a family, so forth, most of my life. Some people, when you talk to them, you realize they've been single the majority of their life. Some people have been in relationship majority of their life. Some people have been married all their life. Like everybody's in between. So I'm more of those one of those people who had a single period, but been mostly in relations. I think the longest single, I mean, not dealing with anybody I've ever had is like a year. Um, but more than that, other than that, I've always had partnership of some sort. Okay. So this perspective is coming from. And the other thing I'm going to tell you too, this is from my perspective. I think people get on the internet and they be like, oh yeah, that's my perspective too. No, when y'all be on the internet and on media, you have to realize people are talking from their perspective. That may not be your experience, it may not be your perspective. Don't make that your world either. So that's very important. Don't do that, y'all. Like I wish I wish that message could go everywhere, to be honest. Cause I notice people are like really gravitating towards you're making that your reality, and it ain't even your reality. Like, be careful about who you listen to too, and especially if they're not telling you this is my perspective, this is what I've experienced, this is what I think is the issue. So I'm saying this to have this real quick conversation today. The one thing I have noticed the most, and I'm in the Western world, I'm in the US. The US already is very polarized. It is already like, I feel like it's experimental country. Like they're experimenting with us with our food, with our products. And they've always been experimenting with us with structuralized racism, polarization in politics. And then I truly realized maybe about 3 or 4 years ago that they've been experimenting with us about removing community and removing just basic connection. And it hit me, I think I noticed it, like the pandemic really shifted a lot of people, but I noticed it before the pandemic. I was like, people don't even like really speak to each other anymore in America. Like you could walk in a store, people don't say hi, this and other. And this all relates to like people dating and having long-term relationships. It may not seem like it, but the basics always matter. So I was just like, this is a weird country we're growing up in, because it's always social programming happening, it's always media stuff, and then electronics, which is impacting everybody around the world, the phones and stuff. But America's like a place where I feel like they're like, America's the experimental place. Put everybody there, experiment on every single level you can, and go. That's what I feel like we're really are set up for, but that's stories for different days. um but I've noticed that I am now trying to actively date. Like I'm actively trying to date. Men don't know how to hold conversations. And I don't know if it's just men or if it's like people in general, because then I go back to people are not talking to each other in general. Like I'll go into stores and stuff like that, and I travel a lot. And I'm in other countries and stuff like that a lot. And I can tell you in other countries, it is at a minimum, people are still having salutation. They are still saying hi, bye, good morning, good evening. It was very rude to not say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening before you ask a question in some places. Okay? Whatever language they're speaking, you better know how to say buenos dias, buenas noches before you go into your question. You know, so that's just one thing I have noticed. And I'm just like, but those basics are making connection more natural in other places, and they're still fostering connection. But in the US, because everything is so volatile and so hyper independent, I'm my own person. I don't need nobody. I'm my own army of one. I don't need community. Whatever it is, whatever the theme or the programming that we're having for the effort, um it's kind of like that is really impacting relations, y'all. And but I don't know what the solution may be. I just have noticed that is a big difference than when I don't know if I ever like truly got a point to actively date. I've always been in relationships for a long time. So I've always like my person always either we went to school together, I've never worked with anybody I dated, but usually they were in my community, neighborhood, somebody I knew, something like that. But I've always like naturally found myself in a relationship. I've never like had a point of being very single where I could actively date until like now. It's always been somebody, that I was with. And like I said, I've been married. If you're just getting on here, I've been in long-term relationships. I've been through all the things, okay? So, so partnership is a thing that, I'm good with. I can also, totally rock alone too. But this lifetime, I know I'm supposed to be in partnership because of my North Node is in Libra. But I'm very comfortable alone too because my South Node is in Aries. If you know astrology, you know what I'm talking about. So you already know your girl would go do, and I do anything alone with no problem. And I literally go to a restaurant and be like, oh, I'm at a restaurant. And my friends be like, I ain't seen you in a while. And I'll call them when I get there and be like, oh, I'm going out to eat now. Do you want to join me? I am that person. Because I'm gonna go do what I'm gonna do. But I just noticed that, and I know a lot of people are complaining because some people have gotten to the point where they're like, okay, I don't want to deal with any type of relationship. I don't want to be with anybody. You're hearing that, like that's hitting the algorithms now. That's a big thing right now. Oh, I'm celibate and I'm happy and I don't ever want to date anybody, and which is fine. That's totally your objective. I'm not even saying you have to do that. But it is still people out here who want connection and want relationships too. So I just think for those of us who who still want to connect, it is a problem with basic communication right now, though. So I don't know how that gets solved, especially if you're in an environment that is counterproductive to basic communication. See, to me, the environment always matters. I don't care how strong your mental is. I don't care how much of a grounded person you are, how much you pray, how much you are, whatever your thing is, because I'm not for like, I'm never going to put my beliefs on anybody else. I just don't believe in that. I know some people do, but I don't do that mess. I think that's just weird in humanity sense, but that story for different days. But I just think that it is obvious that people have gotten to, because not everybody truly wants to be celibate. Not everybody doesn't want to mate. Not the most of the people that are agreeing. I think they're settling there, but I think it's settling because people are frustrated with dating and they're very frustrated with the lack of people being able to communicate with each other now. Because at the end of the day, any type of relationship, doesn't matter if it's business, family, siblings, kids, your co-workers, whatever, the basis is communication. That is the basic of any relationship. Most people cannot communicate anymore, especially in the US. Many people cannot have the conversation that may be a little tough to talk through. Many people are not able to have the dialect to say, you know what, you did this and I didn't like it, or this, that, and the other. And this all goes back to dating. So it's a very interesting dynamic to see that the social programming has happened so much in this country that people are so far removed from just connecting on a basic communicative level. Which, if you guys know, I mean, I don't know, if you're probably first time seeing me or whatever, but if you know what I do, you know what I do. I work with a lot of people at all levels because of the industry I'm in and so forth. But I can tell you something has been done with connection and community and attacking the basics. That just means I'm alive, y'all, which is a good thing. That is a little scary. I'm just gonna be honest. Because that was not the case even 10 years ago. That was not the case, especially when I was growing up. You know, I can remember even before the pandemic going into stores and people saying hi to each other, neighbors talking to each other. You know, I've lived in 3 different states, 3 different cities now. And I've traveled to over 50 just because of my line of work. And I can tell you nowadays, people don't even look at you if you're a stranger. They won't even say hi to you. They don't even, I'm pointing this out because people don't realize how significant that is to the daily interactions that gets people to not have anxiety, to not have stress, to actually get to the point of dating, or even get to the point of having friendships and not feeling alone. How many people do you know that you've seen lately that you've been like, oh my God, like people like, I committed suicide. I feel like I didn't have nobody. I feel like there was nobody I could absolutely talk to. It was a young lady, didn't she just like win? Didn't she win something or something? And all of a sudden she had just committed suicide and everybody was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like she just did it. Because people look at, see, in America, you've been taught to look at the outside and think everything good. A lot of people in America don't do the work to even understand the inside of people yet. They very much is capitalism. So it's, okay, this person is an actress. This person is just won an award. This person is a beauty queen. This person is, you know, a well-known rapper, or they were a pillar in the community, or they seem to have all the things. You're like, I have no clue how they took themselves out because they should have been happy. The basics of happiness, the basic start of happiness is connection. I'm just being honest with you. What is that thing? I don't know. It's going around. I've seen it and I have not seen it but I see it every blue moon. They'll tell you how many hugs you need a day just to like really feel like you're okay. So I want you to think of how many people are isolated and have not even allowed another person to even hug or touch them each day. And they're going hugless every day. And you think people ain't gonna go in schools and shoot up and go into malls and shoot things up? You think people gonna be able to date? I hate to see the social programming work so well in America that it is literally removing the humanity out of people. That's a little scary, to be honest, the more I talk about it. I'm just gonna be real. That's why I'm like, the basics are so critical. Like when you start realizing the basics are missing, that's when people really start looking at, okay, it's almost impossible to change the environment and the basics that are happening here. Can I really keep my family here? Or is it better I just leave and get my family out? That's why you've seen a lot of people leave now. Because it's like you're assessing the basics. Because that's what it really boils down to at the end of the day. No matter what, it's always the basics that's going to show you what the micro affects the micro. However you say, the micro affects the micro. You know the saying. You know the saying. You get what I'm saying? So the thing I have noticed in dating, I'm saying all of it because it all connects. It all matters. People are very frustrated because people don't even know how to hold conversations now. We have gotten to a point in America that people don't even know how to hold basic conversations. People are doing things, they're moving, they're going to work, they're going to the store, getting their food, doing this, but they don't know how to really interact with a person. They don't know how to really be like, okay, let me let my guard down a little bit, because everybody's like anxiety has a lot of scared of a lot of things right now too, because of everything that's happening in the environment. But that to me is also creating a lot more violence. People are way overly worked. That's a whole nother thing that's creating the separation, right? Because the cost of living is way too high. It's been too high over 30 years. Most people be like, it just got too high. No, honey, it's been a 30-year process. This didn't just happen overnight. It's just now unbearable. And everybody's like, oh my God. I'm like, we've been telling y'all forever. Cost of living is ridiculous for no reason in America. We've been saying it for a long time. Makes absolutely no sense you pay that much for the basics. No other developed country is doing that to its citizens, period. But all that impacts connection. All of it. Everything is connected. But I didn't realize it was that bad until I have gotten in the point where I was like, okay, let me try to actively date. Now, I do believe there's people out there that definitely are doing the work and are doing the work to stay connected and still be human. It's just going to be a tougher process for you two guys to connect, because the environment in the social program is so strong that it's going to be a longer process now for you to connect with a person that truly is really doing their internal work to be still almost honestly a human being instead of an NPC. Who would have thought we would have came to that? Like, you read about the Great Divide, you hear all the stuff and this, that, and other. But I would have never thought that I would be living in it and see it. It's weird. But now you see where the divide is coming in at. You're realizing, like, okay, the divide, the way they are saying it's going to be division on different areas. But now you're starting to realize it's going to be those of us who are still connected to our consciousness as human beings, and it's going to be those of us who are going to be so programmed, they're just going to be NPCs. It's interesting. Anyway, I just want to come and say that I gotta go run some errands. It's a busy time frame for me because it's fourth quarter. We gotta get it all in before the holidays hit, and all this and that. So I just want to have that conversation with y'all. I'm going to probably, I ain't gonna promise y'all. I'm supposed to then get activated on all the stuff that I didn't set up, so you guys can connect with me more and me start connecting with you guys more, so we can try to help those who want to stay in consciousness as the programming ticks up. You got digital ID coming now. You have stablecoin. You have all the things that's going to really put you more into the digital world if you choose to. So that's going to even put more people away from connecting and understanding the human touch. We're gonna get to that point because you got AI is rolling out, which I've been talking about for 7 years. Everybody like, oh my God. I'm like, y'all, I was yelling this 7 years ago. Story for different days. But anyway, we're here, we're in it now. So I'm gonna be one of the ones to help y'all through it. Let me go. I got stuff to do. I just wanted to say that real quick. I'll talk to you guys later. Be blessed.